Hello and welcome to the podcast, Eat Better Food Today. I'm your host, Ken Coonahan, and I'm excited to be sharing insights on why we believe that health and longevity begins with the food we eat. The goal of this podcast will be to inspire, educate, and enable folks to live a healthier life and do it affordably. My wife and I have been on this journey for over 10 years and continue to work on it every single day. Percent of the profits from this podcast will be put towards child hunger with an initial focus on the poorest suburb in America, East Cleveland, Ohio. As a reminder, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Visit my website, Eat Better Food Today, for links on this show, videos, recipes, books, and articles our guests provide. On this episode, we're grateful to have Brandon Chrostowski. Brandon envisioned and established in 2007 EDWINs, whose mission is to give formerly incarcerated individuals a foundation in the hospitality industry while providing a support network necessary for successful reentry into the workforce. Brandon is a classically trained chef and sommelier who honed his skills at fine dining establishments in Paris, New York, Chicago, including Lucas Carton, Chanterelle, Picholine, Cirque and Charlie Trotters. This book is from Chanterelle.
Yeah, dude.
And I got it when my kids are 30 now, but in that age group. But anyways, when they were like in their 8-year-old, we cooked out of this cookbook this is a staff meals cookbook.
Yeah.
Like every single night. It's just food they like to eat. So it's pretty cool.
It's a good book, man.
It is a good book. Brandon has won numerous local and national awards over the last 17 years, including IFMA's 2020 Silver Plate Award, inclusion in CNN's 2016 Heroes, 2021 Manhattan Institute Civil Society Fellow. He was the subject of an Oscar-nominated documentary, Knife Skills, in 2018, which was very well done, by the way. And Brandon was a finalist in the 2023 for the James Beard Award for Outstanding Restaurateur. So welcome, Brandon. Quite a list of accomplishments so far.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. So let's start our conversation with two questions that are focused in a roundabout way on health. So my first question is always around what you had for breakfast this morning.
What I have for breakfast? I do this like all natural shake, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm always on the go, so I have to have something to supplement, you know, the calories of what I take. So it's like natural greens, like dried, and then I have it's a natural like meal supplements, like just dried, all sorts of organic, non-GMO foods. I blend that with almond milk, and I use Ceylon cinnamon. I'm really particular about the cinnamon, and then puree that all, and that's what I do for breakfast. Sometimes I'll offset with like a little bit of bagel with hummus or baba ganoush. I go light, man. I go breakfast light.
Yeah, I do a shake for breakfast too, so I go very light as well.
Yeah.
So no bagel though.
Yeah.
So the other question I usually start out with is kind of asking about what you have in your home pantry. I know you're married, you've got 4 kids, and what you have in your pantry usually dictates what you're going to eat when you're at home. So
bingo. Yeah, we're super easy, man. Lots of pastas. So pasta sauces, white meats like chicken or chicken thigh, right? Chicken breast, chicken thigh, fish. We do salmon. We're really like at home good, healthy eaters. Everything's organic. I'd rather drive a beat up car and have great organic food for the house than drive some sort of nice fancy car and eat crummy at home. So yeah, we're really big health and wellness, big initiative at Edwin's, big initiative at the home. Yeah, lots of nice spices, Middle Eastern spices, African spices. So no matter what food we're serving, we can just bring it to life a little bit more. Yeah, a lot of Mediterranean and olive oils, extra virgin olive oils, the hummus, the baba, grape leaves. Yeah, man, we eat real easy. No soda in the house. We just don't do that. Our kids, if they get maybe 1 can of soda every couple months, that's like a treat. You know what I mean? We just limit that out of the equation. Yeah, even fruit juices, man, we're kind of pulled back on. We do use it. We cut it with water, half juice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Kids do dairy. My wife and I, not so much dairy. Red meats, almost all cut out of the diet. But we also have vitamins and supplements we all take. Even the kids,
The kids picky eaters, or they pretty much eat what you
kids
make?
Eat hard, man. They go hard. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They just had I brought some ants home. They had these ants for seasoning. Yeah, it was they tried them. They're that's what it is. It's ants. I mean, it doesn't matter. They'll eat it all. They're and they learn to try it no matter what. They try it. But some of their favorites octopus.
Oh wow.
Kids love octopus. So we like sashimi. They love that, man. It's really good.
I have to have them talk to my wife. I love octopus. My wife will not eat it. So
it's a great dish. You braise it. You can do whatever. You can do so much with octopus, but it's such a great a great treat.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, but we do good, man. Simple eaters, simple food, but definitely clean, lean, healthy, and the kids know, man. Like they'll pass on like Cheetos. Say nope, it's not healthy. It's good.
Yeah, and they're starting to. I've had a couple of guests on the show. They're starting to do more of that in school. Is try to cut out the unhealthy foods, get more healthy foods into some of the school systems too.
Yeah. Listen, for kids, no TV, right?
Wow.
No TV at home, no social media. They're readers.
That's good.
They're athletes, and my wife. If I'm running around, she's running around with 4 kids. They're behaved. I took my girl out for a meal. We went to a Playhouse Square, saw a show. Afterwards, we did 5 courses. We split a main course each time. 2 hours and 10 minutes, we just talked. She's 6 years old.
Wow.
These kids can sit in 3-4 hours, no problem. Behavioral problem is not there.
It's because they're eating well.
I know, man. We're on the same page. It's a commitment, but once you flip the switch, and you say this is our commitment, and the whole house does it, dude, the whole house does it.
Yeah.
No, we have a little ice cream every now and then. It's not like we're like, bad, but
right.
It's not the norm.
Yeah. Outstanding. So, before we get into a little bit more about EDWINs, I guess what made you decide to do this back in 2007? I mean, this is a huge. You've done a lot in 17 years.
Yeah, it's been something. 2004 is when I wrote the business plan. So it's been even longer. It's been 20 years now.
Wow.
But I was in and out of jails. I had a chef mentor me. He taught me it was not practice that makes perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. And through that, I was able to get out of Detroit. Work in New York at the Culinary Institute of America. I went to school there. I apprenticed under Charlie Trotter. I just wanted to be the best, man. And so I was doing that around the world, Paris, New York. But back home, there were some issues. People getting murdered or put in prison. And I thought that I could give this back in some way. And what do I know? I know food. So I went on this journey to build this thing called EDWINs, and now here we are, like 20 years later.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you started basically with a French restaurant, right?
Started in prison. Started teaching in prisons.
Okay.
And then,
before the restaurant.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, because I know you're doing that now.
I've been doing prison work now for longer, and then once that showed some results, it was easy for me to kind of leverage this idea to the public, and then the restaurant, and after that, every year something new.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to just kind of read a couple of things here you've done in the last, say, 20 years now. So I know you're doing work in the prisons, like you mentioned there. You've been doing that for longer. Students are equipped with extensive training at your facilities. They get legal services, basic medical care, clothing, job coaching, literacy programs. You've got the Second Chance Life Skills Center now. You graduate, some of these statistics are just amazing. You graduate 75 students a year, 95% employment rate. That's just amazing. Just not that you're bringing these people in and teaching them, but that they're learning and becoming productive people after they leave your facilities. It's amazing.
It works.
Yeah, it works. So what's in the program that kind of, that's a lot to happen in a year for an individual.
Yeah. Well, there's more. We have child care center. Opened that this past year. So free child care for students that have children. That's a huge relief. And the housing piece for sure, we're up to 5 buildings now.
Wow.
So for students, it's free. Graduates, families, there's a different cost there, but everything's subsidized to a low price. The secret sauce is simple, man. You just put it all out there every day. Every day, and you work for that person who's in need, and you find out what the need is because you're on the ground and you hear the need. I need housing. I need childcare, right? And then just go after building it. It's as simple as that. It's not hard. It's hard work, but it's not hard to comprehend how to fix a problem. Someone needs childcare. Well, why don't we get childcare? What do you need? You need a building. Well, let's raise money for a building. You see what I mean? Like the whole logic is there. Just I think that a lot of people were born to families or cultures that had limits. I wasn't. There wasn't a limit to what could or couldn't happen because there was no really defined standard of what should happen. So sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad. But just do it. Really, easy as that.
And are you funding all of these efforts through the restaurant profits? Do you have organizations helping you?
Oh no, man! This is like $6 million budget. Restaurants don't bring in nearly that much. So yeah, we do a lot of fundraising. There's a foundation, the EDWINs Foundation. So that would be great for capital campaigns, the case management costs, the teaching costs. The restaurant can only offset so much.
Right.
To do this, that, and the other, it's a big lift.
Nice. So you get a foundation that kind of helps fund.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff. We'll raise each year 3 million, 3 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it's no joke.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. So, as you know, this show's about building awareness of the benefits of healthy eating. Your kids are a proof point there. You were recently quoted, that kind of food is everything. And when I visited your restaurant a few months ago to kind of set the session up, you actually had a wellness session underway. You had a trainer in there, you had employees kind of sitting around, and she was talking about healthy eating, kind of some of the things you talked about with your kids, but also teaching that to your employees, sleep. Well, a whole wellness session was kind of going on. I was just super impressed by that. So can you explain a little bit more about that program in particular, I guess?
Yeah, wellness, again, I'm a big believer in this, man. If I people are gonna say, like, how do you do it, right? They'll ask me personally, how do you do this? How do you do that? It all comes down to health and wellness. The way I train, the way I eat, supplements, off the beaten path remedies. Like I do all sorts of stuff. But the point is, it's a way of life, and I know what it's done for my life. Okay, it's a testament. Like I know what it can do for others too. So okay, how do we inject that into the program? Well, first and foremost, you can't force anyone to do something.
Right.
Like no one forced me into this. I kind of found it a little bit, and you find, oh my gosh, this works. So we introduced, what it means to eat right. Like, what does it look like? What does it sound like? We stand by we have staff meals every day, and they're healthy, fresh staff meals, right? So you're putting good food in the system. We have a snack bar there, so you have at any moment you could just crank this thing, get good trail mix out of it, right? We have different meal bars, protein bars, not stuff full of a bunch of garbage, but simple, a couple ingredients. It's when you start to see someone make that turn of not, hey, I'm gonna go to my Monster drink and Doritos, right? You start to see less and less of that. Something's making an impact. So it's putting the information out there, why it's important. Like yesterday, the one lady was teaching the class about nutrition and the chemicals that are in your food, and she simply says, just look at what you're eating. That's your homework this weekend. Just look what you're brushing your teeth with. Look at what you're washing your skin with, right? She wanted to say she uses baby soap for her hair. And she's like, well, my hair looks good. It's fine, right? It's just you put the information out there. You put a good product that you can actually digest and ingest, right? Then what you start to see is a change. There's also requirements, man. We connect you with health insurance within your first week or two. We're making sure you're insured. We also make sure you're getting a full physical, that includes blood work. We don't want to see the results of that, but it's important for you to see them, interpret them with a physician or the nutritionist. But you have to know where you stand right now. So that's your ultimate test of that blood work, right? Where are you? Where is your system? And what you start to see, in our case management, we have two of them. A lot of the questions now or goals aren't just centered on, I want this job today. I want how can I want a healthier, this is what I'm doing for a healthier lifestyle. They're starting to think more about their health and wellness as a long-term goal, and that's the ultimate point that it's working when someone can actually believe they can do something healthier to have a better life. Not just the fact, we all know if you eat healthy, you'll be healthier. Everyone knows.
Right.
I can actually do that. Those kind of questions about how I can become a healthier, how can I have a healthier body, a healthier family, 6 months from now, a year from now, what can I do? Right? These are the questions that are starting to come up in conversations with our case manager. And that's a huge psychological shift in a culture when you can do that.
That's huge. That is huge. They're eating healthier, they're going to feel better over time, and they're probably just going to be better individuals. In your restaurant and society. So Forbes had an article published a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about some of these, I'll say, diet-related diseases, cardiovascular, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. It's costing our economy. They're talking about $1 trillion a year.
Yep.
So you're investing in these individuals. You're making their lives better, and you're helping society. Not just these individuals. That's very, very impressive.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they, these are all good facts, and everyone knows what it is, but no one's acting on them, right? It's not like they're saying, hey, we'll pay for your personal trainer.
Right.
we're still covering the cost of a personal trainer to come in to train our staff.
Hmm.
We have to pay that. It's not an insurance cost, right?
Right.
What's the result is you have someone who's healthier, happier, workplace is better, their lives are better, and less health. I mean, think about this. I mean, it's like, but we got to foot the bill.
Right.
We got to foot the bill for the snack bar. We got to foot the bill for X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's a great stat. I love stats. I love metrics. But when you don't do nothing about them, don't even write it. Don't even write the article. What are you writing the article for?
Yeah.
Do something to change it.
Right.
We all know what it is. Just change it. So that's frustrating to hear. But I mean, we got partners like CareSource. They're their agency here in Ohio and beyond, and they granted us with some money here in the past. It just allows us to do these sort of things that they know work. We know work, but
So talk about, so you're doing things once they come in to your restaurant environment, but like in the training you're doing in the prisons, what's involved in that? What are you teaching in the?
Well, there's 3 different levels. There's in the men's facility, it's hands-on training, right, with culinary arts, hospitality, nutrition, gastronomy, serve safe, business basics, and culinary math, and that goes for about 8 months in the men's prison. In juvie, we teach twice a day, 5 days a week. So it's pretty much the same thing. But a lot more cooking's happening, a lot more eating every day. It's a good release. It's a good way to just bond and be together. We also have on our tablets. We have they're not our tablets. They're these service providers across the country. We got about 100,000 active users in the United States prisons.
Wow.
We're like the number one for culinary arts. Definitely the number one. We're definitely like one of the most used programs on tablets across America. And in there, it's videos, tests, and reading. About the same things we teach at EDWINs. So culinary arts, hospitality, gastronomy, histories of food. That's what we teach there.
So it's all like pre-recorded, and they're kind of ingesting it that way. Is that?
It's totally set up and cut. Like the videos are professionally cut, the lessons are professionally laid out, and then they'll sit there and take them for about 30 hours, over the course of time.
And what results have you seen from people that have taken those in the prisons?
A lot. We get no less than 5-6 letters a day from around the country. People who want to come into our program, which with the Cleveland Browns, we help provide transportation to Cleveland. Right, so we're flying people in from all over the place. You see people who there's a second chance they believe they have. There's a hope, there's a dream. It's in the prisons like this in the program. It's really an ideology that tomorrow could be better, even though I'm in prison today. That's the shift I see there through letters and emails.
Nice.
Yeah.
So any specific things you can share? Any letter stories from any of those?
I don't know. I got 2 bankers boxes full of them from last, since November. They come in. There's one person on staff dedicated to just doing this, handling responses, handling the online program. It's created quite a stir. It's the same thing. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I've got kids. I got family. I want a better tomorrow. I love to cook. That's kind of the common thread you see. And they're asking us to, help work with them to accomplish that dream. Nice.
So you get a group of new people in every year. Do they come local? Do they come from all these?
All over.
They do come
and so
from
it's
all over.
The program's 6 months long, but every 2 months a class starts.
Okay.
Which means every 2 months a class switches from kitchen to dining, which means every 2 months the class will graduate. So it's a constant flow. We start another class in April, and then we'll start one in July. It's just pow.
Wow. So I read 75 graduate every 2 months?
At least every year. So if you add them all up, and that includes a prison program. That doesn't include the tablet program. We got 12,000 just in North Carolina that graduated.
Wow.
But that doesn't count those numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So you've also traveled extensively. So you've been to Israel, Ukraine. We went to Africa recently.
Yeah,
So A, why do you travel, and then B, what do you do when you get there, and what do you bring back to Cleveland and your restaurants?
Yeah. So the reason for travel is there's a need, right? There's a need in the places I go. I usually go when things get hot right away. That massacre on October 7th was terrible in Israel. I was there by the 20th. That's as quick as I could, mobilize and go. I just call chefs. Get a hold. That's usually the hard part, getting a hold of someone on the ground. I don't work with these large organizations. They're not as nimble, and they're not as maybe as hands-on as some think. most of these organizations cut checks to restaurants that exist, and they produce food, which is helpful, man. It keeps the restaurant business, people employed, and people fed. But to get on the ground and work like that, that's kind of like on your own. So the important part is to get there, to serve, right? Because there's a need, to really inject confidence that the world's behind you. Like I'm not a Jew. I go to Israel. I help. They're like, "What are you doing?" You're not Jew. I said, "Listen, this is humanity, man. This is a problem." And it inspires them to say, "Hey, let's keep going, right?" One human being can make a difference. What do I bring back? I mean, a perspective. Sometimes things you don't want to see, but you understand the world works a certain way. You're seeing like sometimes at its worst. You bring back different techniques. You bring back relationships. So a graduate may want to go and work somewhere someday. Can bring that and build that bridge. But mostly it's just to gain perspective. And realize, the power of food is not just our bodies. It's so much more, man. It's cultures. It can be almost like a civil protest. Like in Ukraine, they're using their cuisine as a way to say we have our own and we don't need Russia. There's just so much that food it does.
So do you have a group of people you travel with, other chefs, people from the restaurant? Just
Well, first time usually solo.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking at going to Haiti. Haiti's a disaster, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Who am I gonna bring? I mean, one, people you know. Two, God forbid something happened, but once you establish that boots in the ground, and you have a system of getting people, and you see the transportation, then you can start getting people in through that mode. And that happened a lot in Ukraine when people are like, "How did you get there? What'd you do?" I just tell them this is the route. Here's and people follow.
Okay, so you're giving advice to other chefs and such so they can kind of follow in your footsteps.
Or just people who want to do good, who feel compelled. They're scared sometimes. They don't know. I don't get scared. I mean, just go. And I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Well, it is kind of scary. I mean, in Israel they're firing, in Ukraine they're firing. I mean, some of these countries are, not. I would not consider them safe right now. So.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right. But there's a large power out there. Larger powers take care of you. And, I don't worry as much. Okay. My wife used to worry. She's like, God. She understands.
Well, you're feeding people. You're not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not like spring break.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful person, and too, Cleveland, man. Cleveland needs this. Cleveland's a great city, man, and we're doing some great things, and I think Cleveland needs to know too that hey, we're not just Ohio, we're not just the United States. We're also a global town, and there are some people who do this in Cleveland, right? Whether it's visible or invisible, it's happening. But I think it's important for culinary arts to have shed light on this. We're getting out there, man. Someone in Cleveland's going out there where the city's still a player in the global scheme in the Department of Culinary Arts. Check that, okay? Manufacturing globally, check that. I mean, I think it's important for the city too.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to travel just in general because you do see instead of just being in Cleveland all the time, you get other perspectives and you kind of appreciate what you have back here as well. So I think it's extremely important. So I'm going to ask a question here so we're trying to create this new center in East Cleveland. You've done a lot of work in kind of the Shaker Heights neighborhood, Cleveland neighborhood in that area. So what recommendations do you have to somebody trying to create something from scratch at this point? You said you started your business plan in 2004, you opened in 2007, so it took you 3 years to kind of...
Well, just incorporate. I mean, I didn't get off the ground until 2011 in prisons. So there's 7 years right there.
Yeah.
And then 2013, the restaurant opened. There's 9 years. It takes time, man. It takes time. I mean, the first thing is you have to make sure what you're doing. Everybody wants to help, great. But I mean, what did you do to invest in yourself to make sure that you're going to succeed, right? For me, I wrote a plan. I said I'm weak in these areas. I worked another 3, 4, 5 years in areas that I wasn't strong in, so that I could actually do something like this. Right? This takes time. And what I'm saying is do something that and invest in that what it is . So my advice would be that, number one. 2 would be obviously set your eyes on how long it's going to take. It could take longer than most people want it to. When you have the expectation managed, I think it's more you can directly get there. Nothing's impossible, but you really got to know there's no limits to whatever it is you're thinking. But again, if you know how to do it, you can do that impossible very efficiently in a manner that people will invest in, maybe even sometimes donate to. So, I mean, that's kind of my advice philosophically, and then concretely is just you make the shit happen. I mean, like there's no like, just make it happen. I don't know. I mean, I don't struggle with that. You know, a lot of people struggle with they have ideas. Everyone in this world walks around with an idea between their ears. You know, and a lot of people die with that idea between their ears. Very sad life. You know. And some people actually put it down and be scrutinized, you know, put it in paper, or maybe they speak about it. And then it's harder to do, right? Because it goes from, you know, in your head, which is everything's like beautiful in your head. It's out in the real world, everyone's like, no, you know what I mean? And then, you know, self-investment is usually step 3. Like you really believe that much into it, you're going to put your skin in the game, and that's when people will start to invest in you. Believe me, they're not going to invest in you with just an idea and a nice paper. You need to invest in yourself before someone invests in you. But the last thing is tough. It's like doing it now. Like you have to start doing it now. And for me, that was like working in prison, and then showing that the people who were released were not coming back, or they had a job when they came out. A good idea in East Cleveland would be maybe to sell apples and oranges. Okay, great idea. All right. Well, start selling apples and oranges. You might find people don't want apples and oranges.
Right.
Maybe they want kiwi. I don't know. I mean, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
When you start doing it, you start to like really put yourself out there. You start to find out really what works, what doesn't work, and so great ideas are great, but when you start doing them, I think that's when you start to realize it's not becoming more than idea.
Becomes reality.
Real reality.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had the attention of the world for 5 minutes, what would you talk about?
Oh, what I talk about? I don't know. 5 minutes. It's a long time.
Could do 3. Could do 2.
Yeah. You're like 5 minutes on air is like eternity, right? You squeeze a lot in 5 minutes. Oh, you have 5 minutes on air? You said today 40, 60 minutes. Like, okay. I mean, for 5 minutes, I think it would just be beautiful to talk about how imperfect we are and how imperfect the world is, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to have flaws. It's okay to maybe not be in a box that society's created that you should be in. Right? I think I talk about that for the most part, and the fact that you know, whatever that perspective you have is a very powerful one that should be shared. And obviously, if you have a healthy body and, you know, a mind that's functioning and you can breathe, you should be doing something with your life to give that perspective back to others that don't maybe have the same gifts as you have. Gifts don't necessarily mean money; it could just be health. Right? There's some people who are in very, very difficult physical situations, right? And then you can help in some way give back. You know, so I think it's okay to be flawed. I think it's important to recognize that everyone has their own unique perspective, and I think you must give that back in some way, shape, or form. I think in 5 or 3 minutes, I can probably articulate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with at this point, as far as?
No, I don't know. Just keep going, man.
Just keep going. How do you?
So people are so silly. They like that Forbes article. Great article, man. Probably well written. I mean, probably the word count at 755 words. I mean, great. What the fuck are you gonna do with it? Do something with this. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing to push the boundaries and make sure that this is like being righted? I mean, people just like have all these ideas and thoughts, and they do it in such a passive way, and getting dirty and getting hit, you know, getting kicked around is like, that's pleasurable. I mean, that's how you evolve and change. But I think right now it's just weird. It's a weird world right now, man. It's fucking weird. My kids don't live in that world.
Yeah. Social media's kind of done some interesting things out there in addition to our food system. So wait, last question. Then I'm going to ask you about the recipe. So last question is you again, you've accomplished a lot. You're doing a lot every day. So how do you kind of divide up your time to get done in a day what you need to do? I mean, you've got different food services, you've got different organizations, you've got foundations, you're traveling, prisons.
You just go, man. Yeah, you just go. You have a great team around you. You know, a lot of my guys have been with me, and girls have been with me 10 plus years. You know, like they're here for the ride. good systems in place, that allows you to, do things that you really want to get done. There's always this idea of balance, but then who created the scale? Right? I mean, who created this scale called balance? I think that's a faux. I think society and culture in America is this idea, for numerous reasons, they have this balance, and they create this scale which is incorrect. You know what I mean? I think, if you love what you do, you're eating healthy is a very big part of this. I mean, if you have this, I mean, to me, it's called life. There's no weighing each part of this life. It's just a life that you live. I think it's a big thing. I don't quite understand that, the balance of things. But yeah, how do I divide the day? I just rock, man. I get up, I just start going. Fortunately, I have good health, and I take care of myself, so I can. Last night we were schlepping. We do, man. So like, the Cavs had a home game, so I was like, listen, go down there. I said, slow tonight. You'll go down there with our grill. We have a big grill. I said, we'll start selling burgers. You know what I mean? They're like, well, where you want to go? Pull up the spot, put the grill there, and start cooking. You know what I mean? Like, let's just do it, right? And like, before the game, they didn't do so much. But I said, well, I'll come back. We'll go after the game. We'll sell after the game. So I was down there selling freaking burgers at like 11 at night. It was cool. I mean, I was like, I don't mind doing this. My team doesn't mind doing this. It's like, it's a long day, right? I mean, you get it in. You make business work, and you give people the courage to do other things that maybe they normally wouldn't do. I don't know. Just do it.
Very nice. Did you sell a lot of burgers?
I think we have to change our menu, man. I think like this would be like the worst thing you want to hear, and like probably the worst thing. I mean, I might have a bite of it, but I think people just want like an old school Philly cheesesteak with like cheese whiz. Like I'm talking like the shitty, like the greasiest, messiest thing, after a game, because the burger's like okay, and I'm like there's a grass fed, like we're like doing the right thing, and I'm like no. I think they want like just after game kind of food.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. We'll mix it up every now and then.
So I asked. I hope you brought like a recipe to talk about. So.
Go ahead. In my head, I mean, I got a lot of them.
You got a lot of them. So I mean, basically, what we're trying to do, we're trying to encourage more people to eat at home, eat healthier at home, eat more at home, do less drive-through, cook. I mean, it's a good experience to do that with your family, with your kids, etc.
Oh yeah.
So we're trying to do something for under $25. Few ingredients, and you can make it in less than 30 minutes.
Dude, pasta, man. Pasta, yeah. I love pasta. My kids, I mean, we eat pasta all the time. I mean, all the time we eat pasta. I mean, start with a good noodle, right? And salted water. If you cook this noodle right, it's gonna be glorious, right? I mean, they're a great noodle, dry noodle. That'd be fresh pasta. Great dry noodle, the right salted water.
Okay, so define the right salted water.
It tastes like ocean.
Okay.
You put your finger there, you say, it's like the ocean, right? Make sure the proportions are right. It's like 4 to 1, 5 to 1 in terms of like pasta to water, right? So you want plenty of water, hard boil, and then you put your pasta in. Stir every now and then. But if you nail that first step, like life is great. Like when wife overcooks pasta, problems.
What's overcooked pasta?
Cook too long.
I know, but what is it?
Cook too long. And it's got to be al dente, that little bite to it.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So that's the important part. If you can nail that, man, life is like, you're gonna be just fine. You could take that. There's sometimes I'll just take that, and then just retain a little, drain it, but retain a little pasta water, and then fold in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, serve with Parmesan cheese. My kids go crazy. You call it pasta aglio, pasta with olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. It's so beautiful, but the noodles gotta be cooked and seasoned, and then like life is good, right? Now let's talk about getting a little crazy and wild, right? You put a red sauce on it. Ooh, right? I mean, like, you put a damn good red sauce, or sometimes we just buy, San Marzano tomatoes in a can. Literally just crush them with our hands and put them in those perfectly cooked noodles and mix it around, Parmesan and a little extra virgin olive oil. Oh, life is like so sweet, right? I mean, it's like a simple thing.
It's simple. Like you get your under 6 ingredients, and it's San Marzano tomatoes are great, extra virgin olive oil is great, Parmesan,
good, man.
yeah.
How healthy that is, your body feels. Okay, you say, man, listen, can't. I'm trying to get big. I'm lifting weights, so I need more protein. Well, guess what? You can put a piece of chicken on it. You know what I mean? Like, get a nice piece. I get chicken thighs. I love chicken thighs. Roast them, grill them, whatever your heart's content is, you know. But you know, nice seasoning on them, and that's where you kind of have like fun with things, right? You start playing with these seasonings. And, you know, we have like baharat at home. It's like, you know, Middle Eastern spice, almost like more cinnamon and like cumin-ish. We use ras el hanout. We use you know, all sorts of like spices that play with these chickens. Za'atar, we're big with za'atar. But does that really work with a red sauce? Not always. You know, but you know, you can put it with aglio and whatever. So we play with spices, chicken, fish. Very seldom we use red meats. You know, so we don't really do a lot of pasta bolognese, but every now and then it's not so bad. What else can you do? You have pesto sauce. You know, you can buy this in a container. A couple ingredients, like you said. If you want, you can do a little heavy cream, like maybe like a tablespoon of heavy cream when you have your sauce, your red sauce. You get like that rosé sauce. It's the best. How about fresh herbs, that basil, those tertiary flavors the kids love. You know, kids love these third, fourth flavors, the spices, the herbs, like those sort of things they love. But if you start with just a damn good pasta, and from there it's like, think about that. This isn't hard, man. I'm not like, we're not making like tikka masala. We're not making like all these, like, you know, we're just doing very simple stuff.
Yeah, but you just came up with like half a dozen different dishes with starting with boiling some pasta.
Pasta, really good pasta. That's it. Yeah, and if filling, you know, and you afterwards, you say, okay, great with wine if you want wine for dinner. Great with water or juice.
Fantastic. All right, good stuff. That's it. Thank you. Appreciate you being on the show here today. And please, everybody, continue to listen to our show. Visit our website. Subscribe. We'll have other guests coming up here in the very near future. So thank you very much, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you being here.
All right,
Appreciate
back to the
taking
kitchen.
time out of your busy day.
Thank you.
All right.